Okay, I believe I'm starting now, and I need to show my screen. And I'll go through these first couple of documents. So if you want to go into Moodle, that would be great. September 9 through September 15, if you want to click on that. And I've got a few Word documents that we'll start with, and then I will move on to the assignment. And my screen should be coming up here. So if you first want to click on 101 ways to promote your website, and I won't read through every little thing here, but we'll just kind of go through the basics. And it's old. It's from January 2006, but there still is some good advice here. So, except for my one typo. Okay, so you want to identify the objective of your website. You might be advertising a product or a service. There's all sorts of reasons to create a website or promote your website. Let's see, sell, customer service or support, product or corporate information, create and establish company awareness or brand identity. And this has got to be higher now, but almost everyone in some way uses search engines to locate information. Google, Safari, these are some of the older ones now, may not even be too much in existence, but a lot of times you register your site with them. There's search engines that utilize bots to find your web content. And again, a lot of this has changed, but some of the search engine criteria has not changed. So this is maybe the most important part. Title tags, remember when we coded our HTML assignment inside the head content? So the title was very important. And that's where the organization, it might be that you put your product and service in there. If it's geographically important, you might put that in there. So anything that you think is searchable, most important. Keywords are meta tags, and I think it's around, I think these are still accurate character lengths, but about 1,000 characters. There's been various thoughts on keywords. It used to be that folks would encourage misspellings of keywords to put in there, but now that's kind of changed, unless there's a constant misspelling. But now a lot of the search engines are helping us out anyway with that, with misspelling, so that's not as much a problem. But I think if there's common acronyms people use, common misspellings, but I would probably put correct spellings in there to communicate. They also used to load with the same words, beach resort, beach resort, beach resort. Well, that now it's kind of the first few words that are going to be most important, so that doesn't really happen anymore. So gather keywords through focus groups, your customers, people that would most likely be the ones typing in search engine, you know, in a search engine to search you out. The description is oftentimes the description of the company that is company name, obviously, address and such, but, or location anyway, not even address, but sometimes if that's important, location, but their mission, vision, and values. So it's most oftentimes their mission, vision, values. Alt text tags are important on your graphics and such. We've been using that. Hyperlink text, if we can use the most descriptive hyperlink text is best. Domain names and file names, if you can be more specific, that adds to search engine optimization. Body text, so the very first kind of that inverted pyramid format on your home page, maybe the first paragraph, 200 words or so, should be really what your company does. Again, mission, vision, values, what the viewer is going to find there, so the most important information there. Headings 1 through 6, those are good for search engine optimization. In some cases, link popularity, so it used to be that linking backlinks with other companies. That's still ads, but it's probably not as great as it used to be as far as elevation of your search engine optimization. Now a lot of companies, they register with Google and they have Google Ads and all sorts of stuff. So it's even changed every day, basically. As far as brainstorming, industry you're in, focus of the website, now we'll probably have to go through that. Encourage stickiness. I guess any way you can keep your visitor coming back, I think that's good. These might be some ideas, but sometimes a tip of the day, something fun, a free calculator, anything that helps them and gives them reason to come back. Those are, again, I think some things that are probably in some ways dated, in some ways maybe still current. Validator, AdWords, that's probably good there. So there's a little bit more on that, not a whole lot there. And elements of web design, we can look at that one up really quickly and see. Graphic design, art of arranging pictures and type to create effective communication. You want a unified design, repeating elements, variety to create interest, hierarchy, that's arrangement of order, dominant emphasis, path of the viewer, culture. Some alignment might go with hierarchy as well. Proportion, size relationships. Proximity is important because related like elements need to be together. Now there might be a rhythm within your design, most likely some sort of balance, whether it's symmetrical or asymmetrical, and scale, relation of elements to one another. The golden section or the golden rectangle, so it's basically a 1 to 1.68, so about a 1 to 1 2/3 relation to one another. That's, old artwork, sculpture, buildings, pyramids, all sorts of stuff dating way back has the golden rectangle, golden section design. The human body actually does, if you kind of look at, maybe not my fingers, but if you kind of look at your fingers and where the joints are, the proportion is sort of kind of similar. And there's a little more on elements of design, shape, space, line size. So again, you can kind of read that on your own. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's probably the high points on that one. Letting go of the words, and again, this one might be more useful as you start creating type, but just points to remember about your viewer. So you're mostly writing for them. They're goal-oriented, which means they probably would like to skim and scan. They might like that inverted pyramid format to know right away if they're on the right page or they're not. Most viewers won't return if they've had a bad experience. It's kind of like customer service. If you go to a restaurant or if you go to a store of any kind and things don't go well, it may take you a really long time to go back. People come to use your content, so it's usually not pleasure reading. They're there to get information. Remember, they're busy. They might want things in chunks, so usable, valuable information that is manageable to them in chunks. Resolutions have really changed now. Our screens are the 1680 or whatever, they're large. That's an old one, the 1024, but now you've got mobiles that are kind of back at that 800 by 600. So now we think of that not as the old screen, square screen, but as our tablet. And then you've got your phone that's even smaller. So it's kind of the same, it's just that it's different measures. Good websites read like a conversation. Again, the grab and go, websites replacing phones. Frequently asked questions are good to add so that people don't have to necessarily call you for the small stuff, especially things that are repeated daily. There should be a scenario for why somebody should want to come to your website. Should be user designed, their goals, their needs, their ways of working, works with their environment, wherever they're at. Oftentimes, so you still see that in the newspaper days, it was above the fold. So people still look at that upper top rather than the whole thing. So placement of information could be important. Got the inverted pyramid there. Accurate, up-to-date, and credible, and that might be why you want to add every time and update frequently. But you update your website, and there's a date that you update, maybe a copyright if it's copyrighted too. But if you've got up-to-date content, that communicates to your audience. A logo and a tagline, a little search area, or maybe some index navigation, something to help them. Relevant links that work, obviously. Let's see. Audience characteristics. So again, don't identify people. Let's see. How to identify people with regard to your web content. So are they a patient in healthcare? Are they a parent with a student? Marketing, let's see, I'm trying to get, again, high points here. And emotional state could be, so some of the major characteristics, their expertise, considering that. But if they're, I guess it depends on what type of content you have, but if they're already frustrated by the time they get to you, or are they stressed, or is it a comfort reading, fun, as in maybe travel, skeptical. So again, you think of how your audience is going to view. Values, you know, again, there's all sorts of things people value. Their technological sophistication, and then culture and diversity. Some companies actually create a persona. You'll have an assignment that does this, but you think of who your typical viewer might be, and you actually create a person. And it may be that they're gender specific, it may be that they're not. You probably have a narrowed age range, 25 to 32, as opposed to 18 to 93. Some, you know, things that they like to do. They might be outdoor, they might be a risk taker, they might be very active, physically fit. There's all sorts of different characteristics that your viewer may represent. And what they might do online. So if they're outdoorsy, they probably look for buying rafts and kayaks and fishing and running shoes and some things like that. And then you kind of create basically a little scenario about who this person is. Give them a name, maybe an age, what they do for a living. And then the other thing you probably have to think about is, especially with products and services, who your audience is and do they have expendable income. So if you've got a business that's a service to homes, you probably need to target homeowners or people that rent. So you do need to think about income in some way, shape, or form. And a little bit about functionality, writing. So I think this is really further along. This document will stay out there, but you might want to just reference this back again. Later, pathway pages, things to remember, the mission again, writing things. How much should I include on one page? Your message. Be brief, cut, key points, maybe even bullets. So I'll just leave this up. A lot of this is maybe a little early in the class to be dealing with sentences and tables and headings and all that stuff when we really don't have much down on a page yet. So I'll keep that on this particular week, September 9 through 15. So our next assignment then is responsive web design instructions for 5-page assignment. So we're going to be creating, changing, modifying your old 2 pages into more pages. We'll add some more, but we're going to modify that from the XHTML strict 1.0 to HTML5. We're going to add responsive design, And we'll also add cascading style sheets to format it, make it look nice. And let's go ahead and open that. So click on the responsive web design. And I'll go ahead and enable editing. I like to look at one page and in larger view so that you can see it. So last time, what we did in your, remember we created our XHTML folder and all of our files are in here. So I don't want you to overstrike. I think most of you have done this, and Cody, I don't know where you're at as far as document creation, but I don't want you to overstrike something that you've already started. So what we did is we copied, so right mouse on your old folder, whatever's there, copy it, or actually I think we did all the content within. So let's do that. So go into, I think everybody's already done this. So go into your folder, Control A to select everything, whatever's in there. And then you'll Control C to copy it. Then go back to Documents. And we just created a new folder called HTML5. And you can right mouse click, New Folder, and then just all lowercase HTML5. And then when you double click inside that folder, then Control V to paste. So we're just pasting from one to the other. And what that means is that the old one, it's not graded yet. I don't want anything to happen to it. So the old one is intact in case box, something happens with box, something happens with files, corruption occurs, we can get back to it. Okay. So then we're going to work from, so make sure you're in the HTML5 folder. So we're going to work from those documents. And I'd like you to open up Index in Notepad. So remember, you can single click on it once, right mouse, and I want to open with, and I do want to open with Notepad. Okay, so we'll do the same thing. And then I'm going to minimize that to get it out of the way. So this document, and actually if I put them side by side, that might be a little bit easier. Skinny that up a little bit here. Okay, so the beginning of this document, it's kind of a long one. There's a lot of assignment objectives, and we are not going to do this all in one day. This is a multi-day progression of work here. So the very first thing that we'll do is change the document type from XHTML strict 1.0 to HTML5, and we're going to remove the root element. We're going to update our character set. So if we were to look here, so we've got our XHTML doc type, we've got our root element, and the next thing we're going to do then is update our character set. We use that old Western European character set. We'll update that. We're going to add a metadata tag for the viewport to 100% or 1.0, where the width equals the device, the width equals the width of the device. So it'll be at a scale of 1 or 100%, and our content then fits. So if it's a big device, if it's a little device, and a littler device, our content will move to whatever that 100% of what that device is. We're going to change our max width internal styles for images. We did a little bit of that already. Some of this you've already done. You might recognize it. We're going to organize content to display in a container using internal style. We kind of already did some of that, so some of this we've done. Let's see. Mimic the appearance of a header, body content, and footer. So again, that's with our grid container div. Is kind of in maybe a main body section. We've got the head area that's offset, and maybe we'll have a footer area that's offset as well. We'll use internal style to add background. We already did that, such as color. We can change that color. Add and modify format using linked external cascading style sheet. All we've done here is use an internal style sheet. So an internal cascading style sheet, but we'll create our first external style sheet and link to it. We'll adjust the font to be scalable. We'll add a navigation bar, that actually has the navigation bar appearance rather than at the bottom. Remember, we have go to the hobbies page and then back to the other one. We'll modify the navigation so that it's visually attractive and that it's spatially separated, pretty clear that they're, you know, separate navigation elements. We'll adjust the navigation to include a mouse over color. So, you know, when there's a few different navigation elements. When you move your mouse over something, so there can be a highlight so that the user knows where the mouse is even at. But then also when you click on something, a lot of times there's a highlight or a change so the viewer knows visually that they're on that page, as well as good text to tell them where they're at. We'll modify the navigation bar to add drop-down options. So it's not always that all the pages are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A lot of times there's elements that are within, so they're child pages within one of your main topic areas. So we'll add that, and we'll modify the navigation for responsive design in a block display. We'll modify images to add responsive design. We did a little bit of that on Tuesday already. Remember, we sized those images down to scale with the screen. We're going to modify an image display to change for 3 screen sizes. So sometimes there's images, so a viewer is looking on a regular old desktop, and that might be a good option for the whole Missoula College building. I don't know, something like that. Maybe a tablet, maybe the same one's okay, maybe you have a modified version. Maybe for the mobile, so the big campus wouldn't look very good on a mobile, maybe you want to put a classroom. So one of the teachers in a classroom and there's happy faces in there. So depending upon your display, you might change your image ideas and communications. Format elements using columns and tables, and then of course we'll organize text with hierarchy, that's with our headings. And then we'll continually proofread and modify for page and element consistency. So as far as responsive design, and there's a little bit here too, I'll start with the information that's provided on Moodle. So responsive design techniques are our techniques to present web content in the most relevant format for the viewport and device accessing it. Techniques include flexible grid layout, flexible image media, and media queries. Media queries being at this size, do this. At this size, do something different. At this size, do something different. You'll need to substitute valid image files stored on your default folder for the sample code below. So we'll work with that actually, not now, but that's within the assignment. Pre the first Apple 2007 iPhone, web pages were really fixed width. Do you remember those days? Kind of before, you know, things were this big. Not when they first started, well, our screens were little, though they were really pretty square. So web pages were really built to be square and fixed. And then do you remember the early days of iPhones? It would squish down a page and the type would be like, you couldn't even read it. So then you'd have to try, that was even before the Zoom thing. So it's like, well, this is not really usable. So that's really where things were at. So the fixed width was approximately 960 pixels wide. And in the early days of this class even, you know, web design was about 900 pixels. You'd go, that was about your page because you had to allow for borders and scroll bars and such, and for laptops and desktops. With popularity of the iPhone, mobile browsing expectations changed web design. Interesting stats for the browser market: search market share, operating system market share, screen resolution, social media, device vendor market, mobile, tablet, desktop, browser versions, and search engine host can be located at gs.stat-counter.com. We'll go there in just a second. For example, 2018 mobile share, and this is again 2018, is over 52% worldwide. HTML5 and Cascading Style Sheets 3 address the need for websites to work across multiple devices and screens. So we can go ahead and click on the GS counter, and there's a little bit about, so Chrome looks like by far the most popular browser, and then it looks like Safari. It's kind of hard to tell all the colors, but it kind of looks like Safari is the next one. Browser share, market share. Oh, that's what we were just looking at. Oh, all platforms. So we can even, if we want to look at the United States, we can look at that. So Apple is quite a bit higher in the United States. If we want to look at, let me see here, Europe, let's see what they are. So if they maybe don't buy as many Apple products. Numbers, specific numbers up above there. What are some of the other interesting? Search market share, operating system market share, social media stats, mobile versus desktop. Facebook is by far the largest. Stats above might help. Pinterest next. So share really worldwide, share is really different. Let's go to the United States. So Pinterest that's quite a bit different in the United States, but still then everything kind of just drops off, doesn't it? YouTube kind of surprises me. Doesn't everybody YouTube when they have to like build something or mobile. Facebook, people use Facebook for mobile, and is this Europe or I don't remember what I was even clicking on. Anyway, all worldwide. Mobile versus tablet versus desktop. Mobile more than desktop, and this is worldwide, right? Yeah, worldwide. That's surprising. United States. Still close, a little bit more with desktop. What's Asia doing? Mobile. I find it hard to read mobile all the time. Anyways, I think that's really interesting. The other good resource for responsive design, and actually where I got a lot of my information, was the World Wide Web schools, and a little bit about, you know, what better description maybe of desktop versus tablet versus mobile, and some things to be aware of. So anyway, that's there. Resource-wise, I think that's probably about it there. We will use, so just like I have in the past, I've got within my project some different files that we'll incorporate, so those are there, same as prior weeks. So we'll go back to our instructions. And again, responsive design techniques to present web content in the most relevant format for the viewport device. We talked about that already. The Apple products really were the reason for that. So we're going to use our existing 2-page project and add content to result in a 5-page website designed for responsive design web elements, and it personally represents you. So it'll be a brief introduction about you, your personal background, maybe an attention grabber, your educational interests, your favorite recreational activities, your resume, and contact information. This does not go broad. This is only in class. This is for me. We are not putting this out online, just so you know, in case you're concerned. So we've created our folder, and we just called it HTML. That's okay. When you upload HTML5, I should know. It'll say uploaded by Cody or whatever, Janet. So I'll know who you are. We copied and pasted all of our information into that folder. And so we'll start. So we'll go right to the top here, and again, open your index. And then I know that our hobbies page doesn't have all this stuff. Remember how are the hobbies, we've got some of it, but we didn't add the grid container. We didn't do a lot of that stuff. So we're going to be using this as kind of our template. and then we'll just copy and paste. We'll borrow tags and such to help us along the way. So the very first thing we'll do is get rid of this whole, so the doc type there, and I can actually keep part of it, but we're going to get rid of all of it that doesn't need to be there anymore. So I can highlight a bunch and just delete key backspace. The whole root element doesn't need to be there except for HTML. So all that language and direction left to right and all that good stuff, gone. Okay, so we've removed XHTML, changed to HTML5. And then we need to add, so the next part, let me get my thing is a little skinnier here. Okay, the next section then is our head content, and we can change, so it doesn't matter which one is ahead of the other, but let's go ahead and change our meta to UTF-8, so that's the common character set. So we can get rid of this whole thing, except for some of it. I guess we can leave character set and equals, and then quote UTF-8. 8. So that's the common character set. Your title, I think that's fine. We can come back and modify that later if you feel like you want to. We do have a style here, so that's good. I think let's go ahead after the meta character set, go ahead and enter key. And by the way, it doesn't have to be self-closing. So we can get rid of that part because that was, remember, self-closing was a rule within the XHTML strict 1.0, and we're in HTML5 now. Okay, so let's make space after the meta character set UTF-8, and then we're going to add the viewport metadata, so her meta name, and this is again so that the width of the device is equal to 1.0, which is basically 100% there. So go ahead and add that line. Again, we can copy and paste if you want to, or you can type it. So meta name is viewport, has to be within our quotes. The content, so the width equals the device width. The scale is 1 to 1, 100%. And this whole thing is within quotes, but there is a space after that comma. Okay, we've got our title. So let's enter key. Yeah, I think an enter key after title, that's okay. So make one line of space after the title. And the next area will be our link to the external cascading style sheet. And again, what you call it, if we want to be consistent, that's okay. I can't have space bars, so if I want to see something that's separate, I need something, underscore, a hyphen, whatever. If you name yours differently than mine, just be sure that you're consistent with when we go to create that file, that it's called exactly that. So again, if you want to, you know, I'm not always a fan of copying and pasting when we just first start out, but if you want to copy and paste this, I realize that you can do that, and you know how. So again, what this says is there's a link, so it's a hyperlink reference, and it's going to be to a file. We start within our quotes. It's a file called responsive_menu_styles. So this is going to help me in my responsive web design. That's the whole point there. It is a cascading style sheet file. and then I have to have a space there. So it's a relationship, it's a style sheet, the type, it's text / CSS. And I don't know, so we've got that actually here. If we were to validate that, I wonder if we're going to get an error because there's two of them. We can check it and see if we want to. We'll leave it as is for now. Okay, so far so good. Let's go ahead and save what we've done, file, and because I'm in, if you want to go to save as just to be sure, but remember we are in the HTML5 folder, so we're not overstriking the old one. Still calling it index, that's fine, and it's index.html. Save it. I'm replacing mine, so it's giving me my little message there. Are you sure you want to do that? Yep, I really am sure I want to do that. Okay, and remember last time we started a style, we had to add, we got a message. Remember when we validated our website, it told us our style was missing the type text / cascading style sheet. I suspect that doesn't need to be there because it's there. We'll see if we get an error when we validate it. But last time we started a class, whenever you have the period, again, it's not overstriking a tag. It's identifying a class. We happen to call it grid container, could be whatever it is. But we added all this last time. We are overstriking the body tag. So that's the difference between the class and the body tag. But we have instruction here, so we're going to add an internal style, which this is our internal style. It's internal only to this document. We could make all this stuff go to our external style later if we want to, but for now, maybe we want to add this little internal style for just this document. But it's telling us to add a style. We've already done that part for images. Remember IMG space SRC, so that's a tag, an HTML tag, image source. This is saying for every single time you see an image, make the maximum width 100%. So in other words, whatever that image is, make it as 100% of what it should be. Okay, so we'll go ahead and add that, and we can actually add it, maybe we'll add it after, we'll add it before body. So if you've got your grid container in there, if you don't, you can go ahead and just begin with what I'm doing after your style. So if you're just starting with this, for example, but let's go ahead and put it just above the body, and we're overstriking the image tag, so I can just type IMG and then space bar, and then I need that left curly bracket, so that shift, it's right next to the P, and then I can enter key just to organize really. I tab keyed in, again for organization, and the command then, so the tag we're going to type is max width, so MAX hyphen width, WIDTH, and then colon, and then we're going to identify what we want the width to be. So the attribute for width, space, 100%. And then again, remember you have to end it with that semicolon, and then I need to end my identification for the tag for image. We're overstriking it again. I need that right curly bracket to end that instruction. So we added this section right there. Image max width 100%. And we did, so I think a bunch of this, and I can leave that up there if you didn't happen to get that done, but we'll just double check ours. So for grid container, again, this is within our style, so same thing here. And if you want to put it at the beginning, it doesn't really matter. It's an instruction that's going to be followed. It just has to be inside our style, and it is. So again, a class begins with the period. Class is identified with a division, so I can tell it my division, kind of like a highlight. Okay, our width is 75%, so that means that with our whatever we identify within this container, we only want it to be 75% of our window width. Our margin left and margin right at auto means that it's going to automatically set left and set right to center it within the window. So that's the result of that. Our border, so to further separate out, you may or may not like the border. If you want to remove it later, you can. But we will identify a little border, you know, thin, solid black. Black is #3 zeros. Because we added the border, and I'll bring up the web page here in a minute, but because we added the border, remember we had to have padding left and right to offset it away from that border edge. And then we told it to color it white. So our little grid area is white in color, which happens to be #FFF. The last part of our style, and then we'll just go double check all this. I'm going page to page here. It's probably because it's little. Remember we added the background body color, and light blue, you could make it blue, I could make it green. Let's make it a different color, green, and then, or something. File, let's go ahead and do a file save, and then let's open this thing up. So I'm going to go back again to my folder. I'm in the HTML5 one, and then if I double click, I'm going to open Chrome just because that's my default. And is that green a good color? Not so much. What's wrong with the green color? First of all, it's green, it's really bright and bold and everything, but what else does it cause? Can't read it, can you? The contrast is super low. And that almost has that, you know how you look at red, a bright red and a bright green together, and your eyes look like it's a zebra? It's almost like they vibrate. So that's kind of the effect that I'm getting there. So that's really a poor color choice. And it doesn't go with anything here. You know, the light blue, in fact, maybe I want to call up Photoshop, and maybe I really kind of like the blue of the clouds or the sky there. I don't think the brown would work. I think, nah, the blue. I don't know about the blue either because I've got that blue link if I want to keep that. We could try that color. We could try maybe a gold color, kind of like the Denver Broncos. Orange and blue go together. So we could try that. So let's call this document up. So we're going to go into Photoshop. And again, you may choose a different color, but I'm just going to see what color it is. So I'm going to call up that lead gold Missoula College image. And there it is right there. Open it. And I might just zoom in a little bit. So now you can kind of see the pixeliness of it. There should be a little eyedropper. Where is the eyedropper? No. There it is. So there's our little eyedropper tool. So that should, I think if we click on that, then we get, yeah, it tells us color swatch, but I actually want to go swatches. Now where's the hexadecimal colors? Now it got all moved. Oh, actually I can click on that and then I can see it. Okay, so we can eyedropper, and you can eyedropper around, like if I want a deep gold, so that changes the color quite a bit. Maybe near the top is kind of a lighter gold. So again, where you click, and you can kind of see when I zoomed in like that, you can see that the pixel colors change by actually quite a bit. There's a big difference between those and anything else. So that's not one solid color. But maybe you find, you know, I want maybe something a little bit light, but that still has, you know, maybe that kind of orangey color. So maybe I'm thinking that's pretty good. That looks like facial. Might try that. You can get a bigger, maybe that bigger sample helps, and we can come back and we don't like it. So I'm finding this EOB85C. you'll find something different. But maybe you're deciding that that's really a great color. So I can Control C to copy that color, come back into my document, and the other thing I can do, just for fun, I might try gold. I don't know if gold is going to be a color, just to see. Refresh. Woo! Gold turns yellow. That's maybe not a good color. So I'm going to go ahead and paste my background color in. You'd want to be consistent. So the danger of this is I could go to that Missoula College lead gold, and I could, every time I go in there and click, I could get a different color of gold. So as far as consistency in web design, I would probably work a little harder to find exactly the gold and be consistent with using that gold everywhere. But let's try it. And then I come back here again, refresh. That's maybe, I could maybe even use the hill. So maybe a better choice instead of the gold, Missoula College lead or the lead gold certification color, maybe the hill is better. And I could try multiple choices there, but I can see my type. I guess that's the plus. The link, if I choose to leave my link colors the same, they stand out. So choose something that you like, and if you feel like you want to go back and choose kind of the wheat color of the hill, then go ahead and do that. So I'll let you decide what you like. And I'll go ahead and cancel Photoshop. So what I did, and again, maybe I'll go and find, so the eyedropper there, and again, you click. When you click, you get the little sample for the foreground color, and if you click on that, it highlights at the bottom. And then I just did a Control C. And sometimes it takes a little bit of trial and error. Like to me, and I'd have to look at it, but that reminds me of skin tone. So would I want to see skin tone? I don't know. As far as the website, I kind of like the brown, rusty. It goes with my dogs. So maybe that would be okay. I think it goes okay with the color of it. And maybe, you know what, these are a little more goldy here, but still have the wheat color. So if I were to really, nail this color down, I might pick and choose all sorts of different ones. If this was, my website, and this is our, it has to go with our corporate color, and anyway, that's not bad. So I'm going to go ahead and leave mine as is, and I don't think we need to be in Photoshop the rest of today. So pick a color that you like, and that part is done. Some colors are, so you saw that gold became yellow. So some colors aren't what you necessarily think they are. Light blue, there's all sorts of different tones of light blue. So sometimes it works that you have a named color, sometimes it really does not. Because they're assigned a certain hexadecimal color as well. All right, so back to our instructions. And we've already done this. We've ended our style. We've ended our head, and we have the body content ready to go. So that part is done. So I'm going to scroll this so that you can see my window a little bit better. And scroll here. So my name is okay there. And again, if I kind of squish this down, I can, it shows up fine. I think that's probably big enough. When I go to a large window, it looks kind of minuscule, really. So if that's my corporate name and I want it to be in type or something that's in type, maybe I want it to be larger. Oftentimes you probably have an image logo, but maybe not. Okay, so if I want to add some font size within, so this is an internal style, and in fact it's inline. So it's going to be within your heading tag. So I'm at my name, so find your name. And within your heading 1, so again, we're within heading 1, so that's the tag element that we're within. So go ahead and space. We're adding an internal and inline style, so style. and it's equaling, and start my quote, font size, so just FONT hyphen size, and then my colon, and it's 7.5 viewport width, 7.5 VW, and then I'm ending my quote. And we may like this, we may not. We may come back and change it, but we'll see what it looks like. So save that, and then refresh your window. And it's a bit big. So full size, it's really huge, kind of takes up a lot of vertical space. I don't mind it maybe at the phone size, but it's not a lot different than really my heading 1, but it gets pretty big. So maybe we just would want 5. And that might even be too big, but maybe that's better. I think 5 is probably better. That still might be a little bit big at my, again, I could have a style attached to, so a media query. At the desktop size, make it 3.5. But we'll just deal with it. It gets a, no, that's not bad. I guess phone size, that's the danger with having one, is that one size doesn't fit all, kind of like in clothing. Okay, so I think that's okay. We will continue on. Then we're going to create a navigation bar using an unordered list. This seemed crazy to me when I first started, because you did a bullet list, right? So we can turn a bullet list into a horizontal navigation. We can turn it into a table. There's all sorts of things we can do with list items. So again, let's go and index. We're going to be adding other pages, so the only pages we're going to be able to access right now are index and hobbies. So I know what I'm asking you to add, we don't even have yet. We might create the blank file so that we can get to something, but there's no content, there's nothing there, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is add our navigation element. So I think we're putting it, it's below our email address. I'm correct in that. I don't know that this one says. I think that's where I put it. We can always pick it up and move it if we want to, but I think that makes sense. Have that stuff there, mail. So let's put it above our first horizontal rule. So we may change some of the information that's there currently, but leave the, your name, enrolled in the class, the semester, your email. So we'll leave that all intact. And then enter key right before that horizontal rule. We'll put it above. Now let's put it below the rule. So it's going to be inside the div container. We'll see what it looks like. We might move that rule around, or we might just get rid of it. Okay, so as you know, an unordered list starts with UL, unordered list, and then each of our elements have a list item. And really, all we're doing here is we've got an anchor hyperlink reference, so we're linking to the file called index. The name of what my viewer is going to see is home. I could call it anything, but that is pretty common, home. Maybe the next one is hobbies. I could, Cheryl's educational hobbies, or Cheryl's hobbies, whatever you want to call it. We could call it just about anything. So anyway, let's click there. So we've got our first unordered list. Beginning, and then just again separation for enter keys. If you feel like you want a tab key in, you can. So if I wanted to tab so that my list was clear, I sure can, but you don't have to. So my first list item, I'm got an anchor hyperlink reference, and it's going to a file called index.html, and then within my quotes, so ending, right bracket to end that. And I'm linking to home. Oh, I did spell that right. Okay, and then I have to end my anchor, and then I end my list item. And then I'll let you copy and paste this here in just a minute. So let's double check that we have this correct. So what you'll have, again, I'm within my unordered list. I've got a beginning list item, and then my paired tag has to be at the end, my ending list item. And within that list item, I've got an anchor hyperlink reference. Again, I close that at the end, but my hyperlink reference is equal to a file name. We'll change that file name as we go, but for now, the first one is going to be index.html. Within, make sure that the type your viewer is going to be clicking on a word or a couple of words. Make sure that that type is within brackets. So I've got my tag element here, and then my closing tag at the end there. So you need to make sure that you've got the brackets. Okay, so then, now that we've typed 1, let's go ahead and highlight the 1. Control C to copy it. Paste it 4 more times. Because we know that it was probably correct. Then I'm going to end my unordered list. So we're going to change the focus of your hobbies page to be your educational, so kind of like your academic hobbies. It could be professional associations or professional related hobbies. So whatever you want to call it. But we're going to go ahead and change. So we've got lots of indexes here. So remember, we already created a file called my_hobbies. So let's do exactly that same one. my_hobbies.html, and that's the same. Home is not what we want to have our user click on. So maybe we don't even need Cheryl's. Maybe we want professional or profession, professional academic hobbies. That's really not even great. Anybody have any better words there? So it's things like maybe professional associations, but those would be kind of hobbies. Anybody come up with something better? We'll leave it at that for now. Okay, another one. We haven't created this file yet, but it's going to be your resume. See? So I'm going to call it resume.html. If you want Cheryl_resume or your name, that'd be fine. If you feel like you want your name in there again, search engine optimization. And I think resume would be good. I am capitalizing, so again, be consistent with your style. If you're capitalizing first letters of important words, I would be consistent. Then the next one, so these might be activities, it could be recreational activities, so it's activities. We'll leave it at that. And for me, maybe they're my favorite, or maybe just recreational activities. So favorite isn't really that important. Put the main words in there. Contact, so maybe I need to have a page where further contact might include a map to my business if I have a brick and mortar. So contact. So let's file save this. Come back over here and refresh. Looks really goofy, doesn't it? So we are at home. I can click on my professional academic hobbies. I get here. Of course, there's no resume, but we'll go create those right now. Okay. So we can even start, let's go ahead and start a notepad window. And file, save. It's a blank file. We could actually copy and paste. Let's do that. So we've got some stuff that's usable page to page. Let's only copy the doc type, the head, character set, viewport, your title, the link. Let's just copy that amount, and then we'll add a couple other things. Because if some of this other stuff changes, we'll come back, but I don't want to have to restrike, you know, I guess go over everything again or change it page by page. So we'll do just a little bit. Control C. I'm going to go to my blank one, paste, and what we could do, we could put Cheryl Gal's resume. Then there will be a slight change. So there's a lot we need to fill out, obviously, but we can do a little bit here. And then file, save as, and it goes into our HTML5. We'll call it resume. Again, same spelling, same case, so resume.html, save. And I can use this same thing. The next one is recreational activities. So Cheryl Gal's recreational activities, I don't know. And then file, save as, not resume. So this one was activities, right? .html. So we just change the title tab a little bit. File, save as, activities.html, save. And then probably this one, contact Cheryl Gal maybe. Might make sense. Contact, and then your name. File, save as, contact.html, save. So now if we come here and refresh, I should be able to get to resume. It doesn't say anything there, obviously, but I know I get there, so I know my link is correct. That's a good thing. If I go back, I test my recreational link, and I do get to that page. The title tab tells me that. Back again, test contact. Yep, I get to contact. So my links all work. That's good. Did all your links work? And again, my folder, so it now looks like this. So we've got quite a few new index or HTML pages. So we had our index, we had our My Hobbies, we added activities, resume, and contact. Without much on them. Any questions or problems? So far, so good. All right, so the next part is going to be a lot of typing. And I would like you to type quite a bit of it. I know you can just copy and paste everything, but it seems like if you just copy and paste everything, it doesn't always help you with troubleshooting, figuring things out, and especially troubleshooting small errors. Remember when we went to the validator, the W3C schools validator, and one small error, it could have been a missing right bracket, it could have been a missing space, it could have been a missing quote. one small error can cause a lot of problems. And if you don't, again, train your eye to troubleshoot and look for those things, difficult to correct your work. So we're going to create a new cascading style sheet, and we already know that the cascading style sheet is going to be called responsive menu styles.css. We're going to modify the navigation bar that we just created to remove the bullet. So we would not want a navigation bar to have bullets. We would not want a navigation bar to have the little underline. We don't want it to be vertical even. So it's nothing wrong maybe with vertical, but if I'd like mine to be horizontal with vertical drop downs, then that's not that. So we do want to make some changes. And okay, we're removing the bullet associated with the unordered list, and we're removing the list style type, which is the bullet, so it'll be none. We're going to remove the underline associated with the hyperlink, and that's going to be text decoration. We're aligning the elements along a horizontal plane rather vertical. So remember, vertical is the bullet format. And also where the list element floats left of one another. So we have to put in a command in there, an instruction to tell them to float left of one another. We're going to add some padding between, because we don't want them all squished together. We want some padding between them to separate them. We're also going to center them within their separated element. We're going to add a color background, and we can even add a little bar if we want to, so it's just that space in between and then bar separation. We can change the font color. We can change the background color. We can add a border if we want to. So any visual separation that improves communication clarity to your viewer. We'll add a little drop down in block style. So again, the little drop down link, and with a hover color so the viewer will know where they're at within the menu. And then also when they click on a page, we're going to change the color so that your navigation element reflects where you're at. We're also going to add media screen, so at media screen instruction with some different widths. We will not float the unordered list item or the navigation bar, but display it in block vertically below the so child pages below the parent. Media queries allow you to define different styles for different browser sizes. So for example, tablets and desktops display horizontal, but phone size will stack vertically. So oftentimes, menus and such, and if there's columns of information, it's really hard to put columns on a phone, so they should block down one below the other. And again, we've got the same name, you know what the name is. Okay, so let's start a new file again. So the bummer about Notepad is that you can't really, now I guess the easiest, no, I closed the other one, I guess. You can't just do file new, like other ones. So we just have to look for Notepad again. And we're getting Notepad. Okay, make sure that your word wrap, remember how we changed the word wrap? We have a check mark on it. So in most everything is pretty skinny here, but just defaults. Okay, so very first thing here, and we're just going to copy all this, but we're telling it the character set is UTF-8. So that's the same thing as our HTML document. So at, and then character set, so char set, T, space, and then within my quotes, UTF-8, and then within my quote there. And this is a cascading style sheet document. You can either double space or single space, either way. But when you see those comments, so it's commented out that this is a cascading style sheet document. So we'll do the / with a little asterisk there. CSS document. Okay, and then enter key down a couple there. So the first is media screen, so my maximum width of 488 pixels. I want my unordered list, the list items within my unordered list, not to float, and to display in block format. Okay, so that's the first thing we'll tell it. So the @ symbol media, and there is a space between media and screen. So media, screen. And you'll see this as we go, so we'll do some of this, especially once we get to the unordered list elements there, so some of the instruction, and then we'll save the file and you'll be able to see the effect. So at media screen and then I have to be within a parenthesis, max width. And then your colon, space, 488 pixels, px. And in my parenthesis, and then I need my little left curly bracket. Enter key. I'm going to tab key in just because I know that this is within the same instruction. So again, similar to what we've done in the past for organization. My unordered list, so all unordered list items are going to, again, within your little curly bracket there, the float will be set to none. And then there's two instructions. So the float is set to none, semicolon, space. Another instruction, display it in block format. So display block. And then my little right curly bracket, and then enter key and end your little curly bracket. So that ends that media query. And then I usually place space between, so a little bit more space rather than one enter key, because that separates them out. Just a little bit of organization again. And whoops, if we go back here, so yeah, let me go back up here. We'll kind of do a little bit, and actually I may stop. Let's start and float left. You might be able to get about to there. So then let's go start. So we're going to start our unordered list instruction. So unordered list, all unordered lists. That's the deal with tags. If you overstrike a tag, I'm giving an instruction to all unordered lists. That can be a problem. So then if I have bullets, I want bullets to look something not like this, something different, because that's an unordered list. Then I have to do something else. But we want our unordered list. So space, my little curly bracket. Again, I'm tabbing in for organization. My list style type is none. That means no bullet. List hyphen style hyphen type. And my colon is none. Semicolon to end that instruction line there. My margin is 0 and my padding is 0. Make sure it's a 0 and not an O. My overflow is hidden. So if there's anything else beyond this, which there isn't overflow, but to hide it. And we can just pick a background color. I picked 333. We can change it. Pound sign 333. And that one. And my little right curly bracket. And then let's float our list items to the left. So that's right at the bottom of my screen left here. So all of my list items, space, curly bracket, enter key for organization, tab key in, will float left. So they'll float left of one another. And then I need to end my little curly bracket. And let's file save, and we'll have to go to file save. I have not saved this yet, so it is going to go to HTML5 folder, so make sure you're in the correct folder. This is going to be our cascading style sheet document, and remember, so the name of it, let's go make sure we have exactly the name there, is right here. So it's responsive. You can copy and paste if you want to, but responsive underscore menu. Is that what I did for that one? Yeah, menu styles. Okay, why was I thinking it was different? Anyway, menu underscore, where am I? styles dot, whoops, s dot css. So be sure you put, so responsive underscore menu underscore styles dot css. So it's exactly the same one that we did the hyperlink reference to up in our head content. And then save that. And let's see what we've got here. So the links are dark. Can you even see that there? I mean, you can't see that, but so let me go. We don't have a background color. Let me go find that again. Body, light blue. 333, I don't think, I wonder if that's it. I wonder if that's like a shade of charcoal. That might be it. Okay, so it's a shade of charcoal, I bet. Yeah. So we can change that to lavender or something. But a lot of this, we've got a lot to go. Did you just type in lavender? Yeah. Yeah, I can see my links are there, but they're purple because I've been there already, and it's really hard to see. And it's, oh, did I misspell it? Okay, maybe I misspelled it. CCF is also lavender, so I just changed it to that. So CCFF, in other words. Yeah, we'll stop here. It's time anyway today to stop, so I'll stop my recording.